It was just one of those weeks where, everything looks nice, everything looks pretty, and then something also gets a little bit thrown off. This week looked good. You got some international games. We're going to get football early. There's a lot of reason to be excited. This is like one of the early games everyone is really hyped for. Ultimately, though, that changes the slate because that means the main slate games are going to be looking a little bit worse. And then we got a lot of quarterbacks that got injured. Kirk Cousins was lost for the year. Matthew Stafford might be lost long term. And then what it did to these spread picks that we're going to get to in just a few minutes, it made everything kind of topsy-turvy. We saw coaches get fired this week. So where are you guys at when it comes to spread picks? And then, we're going to make our picks, but that's why we're a bit late because we didn't really have a consensus, not right away anyways.
Yeah. Do we want to do spread first or the other thing first?
So because Governor's having such time pulling out, I figured we could go to the spreads. At least get the order down if we could at least pick our numbers and then decide.
I will admit, it did not save my picks. It saved my brother's picks that I made and had him do, but I do not have mine.
How about we just wait till next week then? We'll wait till
I got to figure out what's going on.
We have them all sent in the Discord somewhere, so we can find them.
Or I can even scrape the video if we have to.
I was about to say, we can talk about it on the review show when we get to the mid-season review here.
Right. Yeah.
That definitely works. And like I said, we're a bit behind anyways. The slate got turned upside down. Quarterback got rolled out. So just like that, we're gonna adjust. We're going to the backup plan. We got the backup plan in now, just like the rest of the week. So, Donnie, are we gonna at least follow some order? We're gonna go back to the picks, right? We can pick our numbers.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with number 81.
Give me number 88.
11.
If you've been watching the show, you already know.
Yeah. Thanks for giving Gov anything basically under 45. 42, baby. That would mean it's what? Is that Evan?
I'm going to purposely pick 99 from now on. Just so Gov can have the first pick every time. It doesn't matter to me.
It doesn't matter to me.
Evan, yeah. It's going to be Evan, Gov, me, Logan. That will be the order. Now, on to the group pick. We have agreed upon the Saints, right? 9.5.
I thought it was 9, but where we have it, 9.5. That's good.
Yeah,
I think DK has it 9.5. We go by DK usually.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I can look and we can go aggregate if we need to, but
no. Whatever DK has it at, that's the line we're going to use.
Okay.
9.5. Okay. Yeah.
I don't think there's much to explain about that. The Bears are very bad. I wasn't on it at first, just because I don't know if the Saints are capable of blowing many teams out. But Gov, I guess you could give them the conversation you gave me on why it's a good pick.
I mean, the Bears won. The Bears suck. Sorry, Evan. Not sorry. 2, the Saints have shown to be at least a tolerable defense. They are solid. They're not great, but they're not bad. Carr has had multiple 300-yard games, so the offense has a ceiling to get there, at least into the 20-point range. So if the New Orleans put up 21, 24 points, I wouldn't be surprised. It could mostly go through Kamara. Kamara could just explode and shit. And then, of course, the Bears are going to suck. So, winning by 2 touchdowns is not something that I don't think that couldn't happen.
Yeah, and unfortunately, as the resident Bears fan, I have to agree with everything said so far because the Chicago Bears, when they faced off against the Las Vegas Raiders, Matt Eberflus looked like a genius compared to Josh McDaniels. And then came the next week, I forgot the name of the Chargers coach right now, but then they just flat out embarrassed the Chicago Bears. And the Chargers are known to be a team that will blow leads and embarrass themselves too. And go figure, Bears get blown out by the Chargers. I don't see why the Saints can't do the same thing. They don't have a great anything. They just have a decent offense, a decent defense. Coaching is not ideal, but Matt Eberflus, head coach of the Bears, is going to make the Saints look like goddamn geniuses.
Fade our spread pick. Fade.
Some Halloween voodoo carrying over, right?
What? Did anyone hear that? No, I didn't hear that. Okay. Is it my pick now?
It is.
No, it's Evan. Like, oh.
What is Evan? It is Evan.
Well,
Yeah, it's Evan. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I don't like I'm on this Saints pick. I like that Saints game. Am I 100% on it? No. I'll say that right out now.
I'm not 100% on anything on this slate. I'll be honest.
That's also true.
That's kind of how I opened the show. So that's why I was quiet during that whole thing, because that's kind of how I opened the show. I do think the Saints have more to show, though. And because the Bears own the worst team in the league, I do think the 9.5 actually will be easier for the Saints to cover, because it's not like the Saints can just get up by 7 points and sit on the ball. The Bears are still going to try.
Yeah, they will definitely try, but with how awful Matt Eberflus is, like I was just done saying, it's going to be ugly, and I would be very surprised if they kept it within 3 points.
Speaking of ugly, are you going to beautify this play at all, Evan? What's the next pick here?
I should transition, shouldn't I? My first pick is good. I will gladly take the Browns at -12.5 over the Arizona Cardinals. With Clayton Tune starting for the Cardinals, he's a rookie. I'm expecting him to make his rookie mistakes with subpar weapons. We don't know how his chemistry is going to work out with guys like Trey McBride, Hollywood Brown. Is Zach Ertz coming back? I can't remember.
Apparently he could have had they chosen to and were competitive, but I don't think they are going to given their record. But I mean, I've also heard that Trace McSorley might get some wildcat formations from this team. I didn't know he was on their roster, so I've heard everything under the sun.
Anyway, sorry, yeah. I forgot that Ertz is on IR, so he can't come back even if he wanted to. With all that said, Browns have Deshaun Watson coming back, who has been pretty disappointing this year, but I mean, he's still better than any of the backup quarterbacks they have. They have all their weapons. Their defense is top notch against this Cardinal team. It's going to be ugly.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have to say.
Perfect. I mean, I thought you summed it pretty well. I'm not going to take much more time because, like, you pretty much summed up exactly what I thought. I don't really like Watson, the person, but Watson, I think, is a lot better than PJ Walker. That defense might only be getting better. They're obviously getting more confidence. And Jim Schwartz, I like the play. I think it was a safe one.
PJ Walker got cut from the Bears for a very good reason. He's just not good enough as a backup.
Yeah, he's a good motivator, not a good like X's and O guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, who's second?
Gov.
That'd be me. And I'll just take my conviction pick. I think the Chiefs beat the Dolphins in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's basically a pick 'em at this point. Let's start out Sunday with a win. Go Kelsey and go Mahomes. The Dolphins are good. There is no doubt the Dolphins are good. I expect this to be high scoring. This could be 35-30, 35-31, something like that. And the Chiefs will win by 4 and cover and bingo.
It's 1.5, right?
Yep.
Still
Chiefs
1.5.
minus 1.5.
Yeah. I get that. I get what you're saying. I'm just going to go against you and start off with a better record than you just to kick off that week, just to really start feeling good.
Oh, I'm
going to go Dolphins.
Oh, the fish. You're going to go with the fish.
Yeah.
So
I still get the point if it's like 38-37.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did we just lose Donnie?
He was, he's making such a good point that Gov had to cut his mic.
Yeah, you can hear me now?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
All right. I just think the Dolphins' offense is significantly better than the Chiefs' offense. If it comes down to a game of scoring, then the Dolphins should win it. because I don't trust this Chiefs offense yet, and I don't know if we're ever going to get to a point this season where we can trust them to consistently be a team that can score 30 points when they need to. It all
Donnie,
comes down. You're putting all the pressure on a 30-something-year-old Kelsey.
Yep.
yeah,
Rashee Rice is. Sorry, go ahead, Logan.
no, he made some good points. I just want to follow up because it's kind of interesting. He says, well, we don't know if we can trust the offense. That's because the defense has been a lot better than anyone else had given them credit for. So,
I agree.
So, but that's what I mean, Donnie. So they lost to the Lions, which now looks like a good loss given what actually happened to the Lions and how good they've proven out to be. And their defense was a lot better than we ever thought they were going to be this season. So could it be that the Chiefs offense just never had to show up? And so the reason you have fear that they might not show up is just because they haven't, not because they can't.
But and it might just be there. It's different this year, and I get it's different this year. But by now, we usually have one crazy Chiefs scoring game, and they've given us more stinkers than anything else.
That's because their defense has been terrible, though, right?
I wouldn't say terrible.
Yeah, I wouldn't say terrible, but meh.
Yeah,
not
it's
good.
very meh.
Below
Exactly.
average.
It's also.
And I know the Dolphins. I'm not a believer in the Dolphins. I do not think the Dolphins are anywhere close to a contender, and I think the Chiefs are a contender.
Yeah.
I still don't know if the Dolphins are a lock to really finish out the season great. I have them as one of the teams that will fall down the standings. But for some reason, I just think this is a bad matchup.
This would be a bad defensive matchup for both teams indeed, because this is probably going to be the most challenging matchup the Chiefs have had on paper so far. I mean, I know that Logan definitely believes in the Chargers, but they still blew them out by 2 scores, and they haven't really played anybody all that challenging aside from the Jets, who have a top-tier defense. And that game they lost in Week 1 against the Lions, their shitty play calling is what blew it. And
I disagree. I think it was the receivers dropping 8 passes, but
no, well, I mean, yeah, that contributes to it too. But there was some really shitty play calling that got to him. But Matt Nagy's calling the plays for the Chiefs this year. I don't like this offense, and if you look at the points put forward by the Chiefs, they're below the Jaguars in points put on the board. So,
and no one's talking about the Jags offense either.
No one's talking about that offense, and they are 6 points better in the standings than the Chiefs right now. So I don't believe in the Chiefs offense like I used to.
No, but I think overall the totality of the team is better. Because I don't think the offense has dipped as far as you and Donnie think it has. And I think that defense has seen a big surge. So I guess I just think we're dealing with what I think is Patrick Mahomes' best team he's ever played on.
I disagree. I think last year was his best team.
Yeah, I would. Well, it's interesting that you say that because that was the first year they had no Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. I mean, we can disagree. I mean, I'm not even saying we have to agree. I think that's part of sports and part of the entertainment and the art of it that gets lost sometimes. Is like, all I really want to do is have healthy dialogue, and that's what we do with these spread picks.
I mean, all it takes, we saw it last year with the Chiefs, all it takes is one of these receivers, one of them, to get hot, and that offense is fine.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably will be Rashee. It might be Tony, but someone needs to do something.
Well,
I don't think
that isn't Kelsey. Maybe not. Maybe it's Hardman. I don't know. I don't think so, but maybe.
They're going to keep up this wide receiver by committee until Rashee Rice gets better or they find somebody new in the draft. Who knows?
Gov, do you have anything else to attest to before I move on to my next pick?
No, might as well get on with the picks. I think
Logan?
we spent a good amount of time on that game, which is good because it's not on the slate, so we might as well talk about it.
Right. That's why I did it, because I'm thinking it's not on the slate. This is our only time to talk about it. Talk about transition. I'm going to take what I think is the most talented team led by one of the worst coaching staffs in the last 21st century. And finally, the Raiders are free of Josh McDaniels, but still have all the talent, still have the Hall of Fame level talent. You know, the high. The Raiders?
Yeah.
I think it's a 1.5 now.
Yeah.
I'll make sure of that before I give it to you. But yeah, it's a 1.5. Mine is 1.5. I think the Giants, on the other hand, are kind of in the same limbo. Besides, they got a coach that they don't believe in, and they're kind of in this limbo where they don't believe in their quarterback either. The Raiders are free. They're kind of breathing fresh air. The Giants are still in that toxic environment, even though they have some talent too. Give me the Raiders, though. Give me Adams. I think he wants to send a big FU message to McDaniels right before the plane takes off and stick something in the tailpipe of that plane as it takes off. I think this offense is about to explode.
I love this. I love this Raiders bet this week. I expect the Raiders to be completely firing on all cylinders. I think they're going to blow this Giants team out the water. And there's a reason why I think Adams is, if you have a small amount of lineups, he should be in almost all of them.
Not only that, but I've said this before, and you can go back. We were going to do our season-long projections and that kind of stuff. I know one of my off-season takes was I thought Aiden O'Connell was going to start at some point this year because I thought the Raiders would be bad. He already did do that once against the Chargers, who has already been mentioned once this podcast. So we have seen it.
This was one of those games I did not want to touch with a 20-foot pole because the 1.5 spread that's there, I certainly believe this game could be close because neither defense is all that good, and this could have shootout written all over it.
But give me the rookie that trusts his talent in that situation, Evan, because when Aiden was in there last time, he threw it at Adams 14 times in that one game. So
that's typically what backup quarterbacks do anyway, is lean on the top pass catcher, and that's good for him.
Right. That's why I want the Raiders, because I don't think the Giants have any pass catchers.
Well, they're just going to put it on Barkley. What are we talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyone else
if one of these quarterbacks miss a game, if one of the two of the Giants quarterbacks miss the game and they have to put DeVito back in, I don't know if whoever watched that game, that was one of the worst coach football games I've ever seen.
Glad I missed it then.
Yeah. I mean, they put it. I know he was 2 for 7, but in a half of football, DeVito was allowed to throw one pass that was incomplete. Then in overtime, he only threw screen passes to Barkley.
Yep.
And that was it.
That sounds like a rough rookie, but at least I got Daniel Jones back this week.
Yeah, coming off a neck injury. What could go wrong?
I know, right?
Hey, he's got that long, big neck for a reason.
Yeah.
So we're snaking this, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Logan again, right?
Yes.
This team, I bet on to make the playoffs because I didn't want to. Because I told you I really am going to try to go 2-0 the whole rest of the time. That is my prime focus. Like, I'm taking this serious now. I'm going to go back to the Chargers because I believe in the numbers. I believe in the talent. And so it's not just me picking with my heart here. I put my money on the line this week, too. I picked them at plus odds to make the playoffs. I think they're going to go on a streak here, including a Jets team that even with Aaron Rodgers, I would still favor Justin Herbert at this point. But you can give me Wilson. I like Wilson, but he is a backup, level quality quarterback against a team that needs to win. They know this Germany game will actually mean a lot to them. They'll already have the results of that game, so that the motivation is going to be there on Monday. That kind of stuff that most people don't think about, that I think about when I make picks like this. That's one of the reasons I want the Chargers. If they know, like, say, whoever loses is probably good for them. But if the Chiefs especially lose, I think the Chargers' motivations go, through the roof. Excited.
What's the spread?
3.5.
Yeah, it's minus 3.5 for the Chargers.
So, Logan, are you not that confident in the Jets' defense?
I like the Jets' defense, but I don't like. I like the Chargers' offense more than I like the Jets' defense. It does scare me though. Like, if I had to say like one thing that does scare me about the bet is how bad the Chargers' offensive line is in comparison to that defensive line, especially. But I mean, if everything was a safe bet, I wouldn't have the record I have. So.
Right, and it's kind of amazing that the Jets' offense doesn't look that good on paper, but they still put 31 on the Broncos, 20 on the Eagles, and they had a really close win against the Giants. So I can't figure out this Jets team.
Nobody can. Are we done on that game?
Yeah, we're good on that game.
All right. I know I've done it so many times. They bit me right in the butt every single time I picked them. But god damn it, I trust them to close out these games probably more than I should. The Patriots at -2.5 against a Commanders team that has sold their defensive assets with a defensive coach that is on his way out.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to think this quote-unquote stable Patriots can just blow them out of the water. I don't know where the pass rush is going to come from on the defensive end sides for the Commanders. Mac Jones should have the time to throw it. And usually that's a recipe for success with the Patriots. So,
yeah, I can sum this up pretty quickly for me. Donnie, imagine I hired you to be an English teacher, right? And then a month into that job, I was like, you know what? Instead of teaching English, I'm going to need you to teach foreign language. And by the way, that foreign language is Spanish. Good luck. You got to teach it in about a week's time. That's exactly what happened to Ron Rivera, in my opinion. They said, hey, we're going to be sellers. Not only are we going to be sellers, but you're a defensive head coach. You already know the guy that everyone wants in the fan base is an offensive head coach. Already has Super Bowl, has a pedigree. Everyone wants him. What we're going to do then after that is take away your defensive weapons and then be like, oh, well, sorry. I feel like that's what they did. This is just a matter of time.
It's just they're waiting for Bieniemy to take over. That's what they want.
Does anyone think differently? Like, to me, that he's just a sitting duck. I don't see any hope.
I don't know what the hell the Commanders are gonna do.
They're trying to sell, get a more than a reason than they have, I guess, already to fire Rivera, and they're gonna give Bieniemy the job.
Right. They just want that reason so they can be like, see, he was bad. He lost, 30-0. It's like, yeah, but the thing you brought him in to do, you sold all of his assets.
I would not be surprised if that plays out differently, because it's the Commanders. But as far as like who's going to be the replacement for Riverboat Ron, because I think he's absolutely out the door too. But I don't think that necessarily means they, lose to the Patriots. But yeah, I mean, I understand why Donnie thinks the way he thinks, though.
Yeah, I think you might be right in terms, but the intimate, I think they're definitely going to give Eric a chance. Now, do they hire somebody else after the season? That I think then all bets are off. Then we could see.
Yeah, after the season, I don't know what they're going to do, but I think interim coach will be Bieniemy when this firing happens.
They'll give him a trial run. Next pick.
Yep.
All right, so what's the good one? You guys have all picked some good, solid games, to be honest. For what are good, solid games in Week 9 on a 10-game slate? Let's be relative here. Do I take another pick'em? No. I need to get ahead. We're going to go with my Panthers. Plus 2.5. I
like
believe.
it.
Is that the number you have on DK? Carolina?
Yeah, I'll look to be sure. The thing about Cal, I'm so used to them being late in the slate that, but for some reason, DraftKings.
Yeah, like somehow we're playing at 4:00. It's a fun one.
Yeah.
So Kev, what has you thinking the Panthers are going to do it?
I don't trust Indy to just blow us out. So I think this could be a sneaky high scoring game. Like Vegas has it as like the third highest total at like 44. So I think they think it's going to be a little higher scoring. And if it is, I think Carolina will keep it close. So like I have 2.5. It looks like DK has it at 2. So
at
plus
2?
2. Carolina plus 2.
It
The
has been
old-
pretty safe in fantasy football to just bank on all of the offensive weapons facing the Colts this year. Am I wrong?
Not wrong. Not wrong. And on the other side, you can run on Carolina. So, like, this could end up being like Taylor and Moss going off, and then Bryce Young has to throw it for the first time all year. And both of these defenses could allow those things to happen. So,
and
like, but I also don't trust either quarterback to just like blow out the other team. So close game seems fine to me. I think the Panthers can either like they might be able to gut out the win. If not, I think 2 points, like just like last week, they beat Houston by 1 point with the field goal. They could be in the same position or close to it this week.
I do not think that was a Cinderella either, guys. When we mentioned Carolina coming off a bye week, had revamped that offense, tried to rejuvenate, some things in the offense. Not to say like it was 100% switched or like there was some kind of grandiose, this 100% change. Like now we're looking at the MVP of the league in Bryce Young. But I saw enough change and enough attempt to try to make things exciting that I want to see what this develops into. I'm not ready to sell the Carolina Panthers as a bad team. I'm really not. I think they could be a fun team to put up in some fun situations. They could be a fun DFS watch for the rest of the year.
And one other thing, Frank Reich revenge game.
Oh God.
It is. Hey, we can laugh about that and say like it matters here and not there, but we do know that at least the emotions will be pumping one way or the other. That could be good or bad. Some players, in all honesty, could play good in emotional situations. Some could not. So I don't know what to put into that.
I wonder if Frank is still mad about being replaced by Jeff Saturday in Indianapolis.
It was actually reported, since you did bring it up, that that the game, quote unquote, does matter to him. So whatever that's worth, does matter is the narrative we got going into that game. But I mean, coach needs a win. Of course, it does matter. It matters to every coach. So I don't know what to buy into that. I think it's just kind of storyline to this point. Speaking of storylines, are we ready to?
Can I say one more thing about that game? More so of that narrative.
Yeah, go ahead.
For it.
I legitimately buy more into the Taylor Swift Travis Kelce plays better narrative more than that stupid Frank Wright revenge game.
Donnie, in all honesty, though, like I have no problem with that. That's your lead.
I genuinely believe that, though.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying make sure your biases are genuine. I have no problem with that. Honestly, I do not. As long as you have reason and conviction for your beliefs. That's truly 100% what I always believe. I just never want to chase a narrative. I never want to like convince somebody of something they strongly believe in.
Yeah, no, here's the thing. To me, not to call Travis Kelce childish, because that's the wrong word. That's the only word coming to my mind, though. Mm-hmm. So Travis Kelce has that childish mind. I don't like saying it because that's not what it is. But you know what I mean. Where that will motivate him. The silly things do motivate Kelce.
Hey, but silliness can be a good thing, too, because, like, I remember a lot of times my ex-girlfriend and me would be very serious during the weekend. So on the weekends, we would enjoy watching, like, Disney cartoons and, like, more wholesome stuff. So, like, even immaturity and things like that, you never know how people interpret that. Like, that could mean that he's spending time with his nieces.
I really don't mean it badly. Like, but I don't.
I know, that's why I want to clarify. Like, just because someone acts childish or enjoys life in a way doesn't mean that it's immaturity. I knew where you were going there. I just want to clarify for the audience, just so you don't get a bad rap. Are we ready to wrap this up, though?
No, because I got to make my last pick.
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean like wrap it up. No, I meant go on to you for your last pick.
Yeah, so we just got done talking about the Panthers possibly winning this game. Their first win was against the Houston Texans last week, and that is why I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at +3 over the Texans. So far, the season has been a bit disappointing, to say the least, for the Buccaneers on offense and defense, but the Buccaneers still have a pretty respectable defense, and I like their offensive weapons better. I don't think coaching for the Buccaneers is all that great. Houston is a young, raw team that I think is going to be so much better in about a year or two from now. But right now, it's still a bunch of rookies, still learning, growing pains, and they just lost to also a promising Carolina team. I think the Buccaneers are gonna get them by at least 3.
Yeah. See, I just don't think this Bucs team is very good. I think it's just like it's very top heavy. Yeah, and the quarterback I don't trust. The coach I don't trust.
Yeah, they're not very good, but neither are the Texans yet.
But there's people I trust on the on the Texans.
Sure. And I feel the same about the Bucs. Both teams
at
are
the
3-4.
important positions, though, is what I mean. Like, yes, I trust Chris Godwin. I know Chris Godwin's going to be great. I trust Mike Evans, but they can only do so much.
Well, it's also worth noting that the Texans are also going to be without their starting running back. I always forget his name for some reason. Dameon Pierce is going to be out tomorrow. And I think Singletary is going to struggle against the rush defense.
I don't like Singletary that much.
I think he's okay.
I think Stroud has been phenomenal this year.
Oh, I love Stroud.
And I'm already ready to eat my crow on that one. I did not think Stroud would be good. He's shown me enough.
You know what's funny, Donnie? I drafted him in my Dynasty rookie draft this year as my quote-unquote consolation prize because I didn't get Bryce or Richardson. I'm blown away by how great Stroud has been in the NFL so far between his attitude, leadership, desire for more game film to watch. Like this kid's, I hate to call him a kid, he's a grown man, but he's ready.
Yep, he's special.
Don't we do this though where we're like, oh, he's special, so then Young isn't as special, but it's only been like
it's not to bash on anyone else. I'm just saying I love the kid. He's special.
Don't hear what we're not saying, Logan.
Well, no, that's why I want to. That's the whole point of this podcast is like so we can process things differently than most audiences do, and so I just want to point that out. But you saying that you would like it, but you saying you're entertained by this game, that's not we're not that kind of podcast where we're putting blame or association on another situation. I want to make that very clear. I'm pretty much in the middle though in terms of like I have no take. I don't hate it. I don't love it. Like I have Sunday Ticket. If I watch 1 minute of this game, it wouldn't bother me. If I watch 0 minutes of the game, it wouldn't bother me.
Kind of the same, honestly, with you. Like I'll be at work tomorrow. It's not going to bother me. I don't get to watch that game.
Right. I'll catch it on the red zone, and like I hope there's some good stuff. I
hope it's on. Like I hope that it ends up being on red zone a lot, and I do get to catch some of it. But that means there's got to be scoring.
Yeah.
And a lot of it.
Because there's some cool, interesting DFS pieces in that game that we can get to talking about closing this up and going over to our lineup pretty soon. But in terms of like watching a game, I think there's a lot more cool, interesting things. Maybe that's just because I like the shiny new toys and we get a lot of rookies and like, first-time offenses and trades and different, outlooks. But this isn't the game that excites me one way or the other.
I love this. I love this pick, to be honest. This game, I mean, not pick.
But have you guys looked at the DK lineup or any like?
Yes.
If you can remember going back to your first looks, right? Like we always get. I want to bring this up, especially before we build it, because I think it's such a good process conversation piece that gets under evaluated. We always get so excited when pricing first comes out, or like the idea of like. At least I do, like reviews, and then you're like, well, okay, this review went this way, but what if I look at the pricing of this guy? Maybe I can find something early. And then what happens is like we build our lineup and we get so much in the weeds about it, we kind of forget just to have a feeling about the slate. So if you guys can harken back to whatever strong feeling you had, whether that's today, whether that was the first time you looked at the slate, like what was one of the feelings you had about the slate? One of the things you felt strongly about, it could be a player, it could be a take, it could be...
Just Adams would be mine.
Devontae Adams?
And the Falcons offense I like this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of the games I was going to...
I don't get excited about pricing because I don't look at it till Friday.
Yeah.
One of the games I was going to get excited
I wouldn't show that, Logan.
Yeah, Logan.
Good call. Good call. I was wondering. I was just about to look and see if I had switched over or not. I appreciate that.
But yeah, to Donnie's point about the Falcons game, I was actually looking forward to that as well. I was gonna pick the Falcons this week too as one of my alternative choices, just because with the Vikings not having Kirk Cousins anymore, yeah, that's gonna take some time to build some chemistry with this playbook, whether it's Dobbs or Jaron Hall is the name of their rookie, I think.
Yeah, Hall is. Me and Logan actually watched Hall together for the preseason a bit. This kid is not. Tim Tebow's the best name we can come up with.
BYU quarterback very fast. Like rated out the fastest quarterback, I think, of the 40 time for rookies this year.
Yeesh.
Like super fast.
Watch him be like Will Levis and just throw 4 touchdowns to Jordan Addison and be like, "Oh God, we all shit on this kid too."
If that's the case,
I'm fine with that. I don't care about being wrong. But from what I've seen, I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Believe me, if that happens, it's going to be rushing touchdown. I mean, the kid is like legit fast. I mean, talking like what I heard Michael Vick fast. I don't know that. So I am playing some of them because he's too cheap on some of the sites. And like, I don't care how points get accrued as long as they get accrued.
I think there's better options that are cheap this week. I love Taylor Heineke this week.
No, I don't. But that's more so because rushing gets overpriced in terms of quarterback. Like rushing quarterback floors are just so nice in DFS. Yeah. Speaking of that, I did sign in. I will say I don't mind having to sign in as often as I do, even if these guys have to call me out live on a podcast, because that just means that DK is trying to take care of things and make sure things are secure. So I don't mind it. I know some people get really nuts about having to sign in because literally we have to do that now maybe once a day probably. But I don't mind it. Speaking of signing in and having convictions, though, do you guys have any pillars? Does anyone have okay, I'm ready to fire this off?
I want to go back to that lowest point total thing that we built last week because I really thought it was cool.
Yeah.
And I want to include the primetime games as a starting pillar, just like we did last week.
Oh, that's right. You wanted them.
Well, what if we combine that?
How so?
We do just the big slate, and then we do the lowest point total as the stack.
Oh, I see what you're going. Okay, yeah, I think we can do that.
Yeah, we can do that. Gov, did you have any pillars? Since I already have a lineup pulled up, but we can do yours first and then go back to that one near the end.
Yeah, I mean, so my thought was let's make a conviction lineup, but what I'd like to do is have each one of us pick a game, limit us to those 4 games, and if we want to pivot someone in, it must be PMR.
Interesting.
So you might pick one of the 3 afternoon games as one of our 4 games, but if we have any other pivots off the 4, it would only be the afternoon games.
It has to come from the late games.
Right. We can only pivot to PMR.
I like that.
We pick the games that we like the most on the slate.
I like that theory, and we haven't done it. These guys mentioned something we've done, and I think it worked, and we should definitely go back to things that worked. Gov, why did you come up with this theory? Because it's really unique, and I think I know why, but explain to the people like what triggered this pillar for you, Chris. I think it's interesting.
I honestly couldn't tell you. I was just trying to think of what's a way we could build. I think we all should pick. I don't want us to just pick one conviction,
right?
Player. I'd rather us figure out the game we like, and then we can look at it from there, our draft as a group.
Now, please.
And then I think the only good pivots are to the late games to PMR, like we love to do. So that's where I'm sort of combining that.
Well, please call me out if I'm wrong, and these guys can contribute as well. The reason when you were explaining that to me, it made so much sense because this week is a lot of people are confused of what to do, right? There's a lot of topsy-turviness. Speaking of which, we just got an update that Matthew Stafford is 85% out, most likely out. They're pretty much going to go on with Ripon or Rippin. So there's a lot of we thought one thing, here's another thing scenario. No one has a strong conviction. So you're going with that conviction idea. But then you're saying, hey, leave that PMR. So then if you want that optionality, that switchability, you're most likely going to get that obviously with the later game. So you're giving people the out to literally change lineups if they need to. I like that as a theory.
Do we want to exclude being able to pick PMR games or not? Because I would say no.
He said no, don't exclude it. But
No, if your favorite game environment is Philly, Dallas, that's fine. But if someone picks that, then you need, like, if all four of us say our favorite game environment is Philly, Dallas, that's just, yeah, I don't really, like, come on, like, be real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, I like that game, and yes, we may pick one of those games, but, like, there are other games on this slate, and you have to like something from these games.
Right. All right. Do you mind if I pick my game first?
That's fine. I'll go last, even.
All right. Give me Carolina Colts.
All right.
Okay.
So that's one game. Logan, you have a favorite game?
Raiders Giants.
I like that one too.
Are you eating chips, Donnie?
Maybe.
I like how
I'm pretty sure it's everyone can hear that it's not a maybe.
It's definitely not something soft. Like I was like, well, maybe.
Listen, I work
Pretzels, thank you very much.
I work till late, guys. Come on.
It's all good. We're just having some shits and giggles.
I would say after you call him on about his fan, he's probably just blowing smoke.
Evan, what's your favorite game of the week of the Sunday slate?
I will take Washington, New England.
Oh,
interesting.
I've been building too much.
Not a bad one.
I will get this right.
I'm
Washington.
gonna go with Tampa Bay and Houston.
Oh, we got a good batch of games.
I like this batch.
All right, so we can snake draft from these 4 games.
All right. Do we want to keep the order the same, different? What's going on?
Does not matter to me.
Let's say
I say let's do it reverse order. So
All right.
I'll go last.
Logan, Donnie, me, Evan, right? Or
yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yep.
And
Now,
we'll
Logan,
snake. So
because I was going to say because we're picking from 4 games, can we say can we try at least to agree on a quarterback consensus?
yeah. Go ahead, Logan.
Okay, so we won't pick a quarterback. Pick a player. Okay, I'm going to pick the best value on the board. I don't care if it works out or not. It's going to open up a lot. Give me Daniel Bellinger.
I like this pick as well. Daniel Bellinger last year looked really good. I don't know why he didn't get much work. I know Waller's there now.
It's not just that he's like a cheap tight end. He is the only tight end, unless they called somebody up today on the practice squad. Cager is also out. Waller is out. Like he was the only guy as of a couple hours ago.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. All right, I'm just gonna go with my favorite receiver from this team, so Logan doesn't jam in somebody else who I don't think will do much. Give me Douglas.
I like it though. Too cheap. He'll be chalky. He'll be chalky. Like 40%.
He'll be chalky. That's fine.
But
I don't know how chalky he will be though with all these other Patriots receivers being.
No one's playing any other Patriot receiver. Douglas is the chalkiest guy on the slate next to Kamara.
Well, Logan's playing a lot of Juju.
I think Juju or taking a shot on a Juju or a Ty Montgomery is perfectly fine in a tournament. Because, I don't know if Douglas is that much better where he warrants that much more target share.
Yeah, we're going to find out. But Douglas will be like at least 40% owned.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so that would put me next.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Hold on. I have to flip a coin here real quick.
All right.
I'll just let you know. We're going to put in one of Jacobs or Adams right now.
Oh, yeah. See, I was stuck on this too.
Yep. Hold on. Give me a second.
Waiting to hear the sound of that coin.
Tails. I flipped it on my phone. It's not an actual coin. Okay. So tails means we're taking the ass end of this deal. Jacobs it is.
I like that.
I like getting some Jacobs exposure somewhere, so I'm happy with it.
He's
Honestly,
the chalk. He's cheap. He's fucking Jacobs. I'd rather play Adams. So he's the ass end of this deal. Tails.
honestly, this is the week to play somebody like a Jacobs because he's been bitching about his usage before McDaniels got fired, and this Giants defense is perfect to run all over.
Yep, I
I
agree.
don't disagree. Yeah.
And there was a time where he used to catch passes a lot. So maybe that was a McDaniels thing, but they went away from that, and now he's got, like, who knows? I think the sky's the limit for that kind of price tag.
Last time AOC was in, I believe Adams had like 14 targets, not playing the entire game, and Jacobs had like 11 targets in that game too. So, rookie
Logan,
quarterback, check down machine, new coach, squeaky wheel,
He's
blah,
not a
blah,
check
blah.
down machine, I don't think.
Yeah,
But
Logan, I thought you were bullshitting at first, and then I checked the stats, and I'm like, holy shit, he did get 11 targets against the Chargers.
yeah, no, he got a lot of work.
And he missed a quarter in that game as well with his shoulder. That was when he hurt the shoulder the first time.
Man.
Now can we pick any team now? Was it
it's Evan's pick.
Come on, Logan, quit forgetting about me.
I'm not forgetting. I'm setting you up.
We're going to fill out the entire lineup from these 4 games.
Okay.
Then we can discuss a pivot to a Dallas Philly guy if we want.
Gotcha.
Okay. Give me Jahan Dotson.
I like it.
Curtis Samuel out. I like this a lot.
Yep.
Personally, like with Samuel out, it was Crowder who ran more routes. I think Dotson got his touchdown regression that he was due last week. I don't think he's just inherently a great play. I would like at 5K, can we just play McLaurin? But if we're putting in Dotson, it's your pick. We're putting in Dotson.
The reason I didn't go with McLaurin is because knowing Bill Belichick, he will throw everything he can to shut down the top wideout. So I figured that's Dotson's time to shine.
I could understand that. But I also would say, like, just because Samuel's out, like we saw Jamison Crowder run a bunch of routes and get a bunch of targets with Curtis Samuel out. So I think those are your 1-1 wide receiver replacements. Dotson just doesn't all of a sudden get 10 targets because Samuel's out.
Oh, no, but I mean, it does Crowder get us open and...
True. No, yeah, it's the New England defense. So, like, I would agree. Like, I probably would just go with Dotson or McLaurin myself. I'm leaning more McLaurin, but I get what you're saying about Belichick. He will probably try to scheme out McLaurin and make him beat you with either the run game
Safety
or Dotson.
Over the top, put J.C. Jackson on. McLaurin will probably be the idea. But
yep. So, like, I'm not opposed to it, but I would throw out there that just because Samuel's out does not make Dotson a good play.
Well, the thing is, though, with this situation is Belichick's either going to double him or he's going to put whoever he feels is the best corner. I don't know who that is.
Right, and we'll see how that works.
One-on-one.
Yeah, I'm not even trying to guess the defense on it. I know the usage is not increased on Dotson just because Samuel is out. So maybe I want to make sure we know that.
Last week, but this week it might now that they can scheme for it.
I mean, they can scheme for it, but like Washington's also going to scheme their guys, and they were just scheming Jamison Crowder to run those Curtis Samuel routes.
Yeah,
I agree with you there. We can use the scheme argument, but scheming goes on.
I'm perfectly. I'm not changing the Dotson play. It's still it still has merit because McLaurin could be limited because of the Patriots' defensive scheme of taking their top wide receiver out, and that would leave Dotson open to some shots, which we've been seeing all year that he gets those shots. It wasn't until last week that he was able to pay it off with a touchdown. So maybe he gets another one this week because he has been a pretty solid volume. But I don't agree. Like, I just don't. I want to point out that volume was there before. He was not paying it off. He did not get increased volume the last week or two with Samuel out. Crowder has actually been in the rotation and getting snaps because of that.
Yeah. Evan, this will be your pick.
Okay. Oh yeah, we're
snake draft.
So, at this point, now we can just pick anybody at this point, right?
Yep.
No.
You want to stack it? You want to put Sam Howell in here, you motherfucker? You want to put Mac Jones in there?
Well, you could pick anyone, but we want to keep it in the 4 games.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You want to stack it with one of these 4 games? That's fine. You can pick the quarterback now if you wanted.
So yeah, I was just about to ask if one of us could pick the quarterback or if we wanted to hold off on that.
No, the quarterback can be picked now.
But Gov, you took the words right out of my mouth. Give me Sam Howell.
Sammy.
Sorry.
I mean, if we like, let's see, of these 4 games we have, he's probably my 3rd favorite quarterback to stack.
Who
I
would
like
you
Mac
prefer?
better.
Stroud and Bryce Young.
I'd prefer Mac over Howell.
I don't know if I believe in Mac anymore just because of the system.
Yeah, I don't believe in them because of the weapons.
I don't believe in the Commanders' defense at all. Like, I'm completely out on this Commanders' defense.
But it's your pick, to be fair. I'm
not going to change it. That's how I feel.
And the reason I wanted Howell too is because, just like you said, the Commanders just sold 2 of their best defensive weapons, and being that that's going to help the Patriots run the ball more, Howell's going to have to throw more.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm going to leave you some money. We're going to plug in Zach Moss.
Okay.
Oh, you! I want to play Taylor so bad. I was going to put Taylor in there.
You were going to play Zach Moss because it's the better play.
No, it's not.
It is, but it won't. They're both gonna get 14 carries. It just doesn't matter who gets the touchdown.
It's gonna split, and the split is gonna stop soon enough.
The split's never gonna stop. They don't like fucking Taylor. They paid him his money out of literal, like, oh fuck, we can't do anything else about it.
Hey, as long as he gives our best ball team, I think Taylor's a better play.
I've also looked at that contract. It's movable next year before the trade deadline, like where a team might want it, and it's able to like cut him at the end of next year with no salary cap hit. So like you signed him to 3, you gave him the money he wanted, and you might only keep him for a year and a half.
Yeah, I did see the language on it. It's interesting. I will say though, I think Taylor had the highest upside for his price.
He might have a slightly higher upside, but I know Zach Moss still gets goal line touches. I know they still do a split. I know you can run all over Carolina, so I have no problem with Zach Moss. If we had the money to play Taylor, maybe we probably do have the money to play Taylor. We're gonna have a lot of fucking money.
Logan, your pick.
DJ Moore.
Not in the pool. Not in the pool.
Are we still going off of the pool? I thought we were picking anything.
No. We're filling out this lineup with the pool, and then if we want to pivot, we can only pivot to Dallas, Philly, which is the other PMR game.
But DJ Moore is a ridiculously low price.
True.
No, sorry. I didn't realize we were going to build the lineup and then come back to it. Sorry.
Yeah,
my bad.
We're going to build the lineup out of these 4 games first. Okay, so
Devontae Adams.
Yeah, makes sense. I don't need to. Yeah.
Yep, we have salary. Do it. Yep.
Well, I'm going to say screw you and let you guys have the flex pick to discuss because I want to pick the defense.
Okay.
Give me Philly defense.
I'm actually fine with that.
If we're not going to play this Dallas game, I want to play a defense.
No, you said we had to pick the players and then switch to the PMR. So we have to pick the flex pick.
No, I'm not switching to PMR. I'm picking the defense, and we can't pick defense from our 4 games.
I mean, we could have picked the defense from the 4 games.
I'm following the rules.
But like, you could just say Panthers, and I would be fine pivoting to the Eagles defense when we get to the point. So like, that's not a big deal to me.
This type of lineup, we've always been allowed to pick the defense, like, and go outside of those things.
I mean, the defense was going to be left. We were each going to get 2 picks and then like leave either the defense or the flex. So if you want to pick the defense and go with the Eagles, I'm perfectly fine with that. It is the other PMR game, so we could flip to it. We could have had the Bucks defense at 4K.
What's the
Panthers defense at?
That leaves us with 8,500 in the flex. So
yep, I know.
Like we have basically all the money in the world. If we filled it out with someone from our games, it would probably just be
Barkley.
Yeah, but then we get to a point where we pivot, and I want to just go up to CeeDee Lamb against this Philly team that's just let wide receiver ones just smash all year.
Any love for AJ Brown?
I mean, it's AJ Brown. He's gone for like 130 yards every game for like 5 straight games. Like, he could totally smash again against Dallas too. Like, it's not that I don't love AJ Brown. It's just 8,600, most expensive guy on the slate. Basically, is like That's rough.
I love
And
the
we don't
CD
quite have the money to get to him.
I love the CD call. Does anyone disagree with that?
I mean, we could go down at defense and play AJ Brown, but
Yeah, and
that'd
I
be
love
what we'd have to
CD,
do.
and I love CD Lamb. Don't get me wrong.
The only problem is we're playing CD Lamb against our defense, but that'd be okay because then we're just basically counting on sacks, right?
Yeah, or we could switch defense to like Carolina or the Raiders.
Yeah, we could do that.
Like the
I'm
Raiders
okay.
against Daniel Bellinger and that.
My Chrome.
But I
just
also
had-
don't hate the Eagles. Like I'm perfectly fine playing the Eagles defense and CeeDee Lamb. I really am.
I'm fine with this lineup the way it is too.
Yeah.
I was just working through the people why we would do it that way. I think you can get enough sacks and other things that CD could get 10 catches.
CeeDee can get there on targets. Like he could. You're right. Like he can literally catch 10 balls for 100 yards and not even get the touchdown and still have 23, 24 points.
Right.
And the Eagles defense can have 15 points.
And you could argue
even without like a defensive score.
And let's not forget. Here's the thing: the Eagles' defense. If Dak makes 2 mistakes, and they go down, Dak's going to be throwing it, and CeeDee Lamb's going to get volume.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yep.
So talks amongst yourself while I pull up the full game slate of the Monday through Sunday. I don't mind doing this because, like I said, it gives us another single entry each week. Did we want to do what we did last week, though, where we have to pick one player from each of the primetime games? Is that the idea? Or did you just want the full slate of it?
Well, what I was thinking is just repeat what we did last week. Just build our pillar off of the primetime games and then go off of what Donnie said without the PMR.
Okay, that works.
No. I said to build the pillar off of the lowest total. And
That's right.
Sorry,
Yours
yeah.
is the lowest. That's right.
Then we were going to merge them. So
Yes.
So we'll go to the big slate with the Sunday and Monday slate, but then we will start with the lowest total game and stack that and then build around it.
yes,
Man, I'm so out of practice how to do that. I'm pretty sure I got the slate, though.
the lowest total is a tie. It's going to be the Vikings and Falcons, or
That's easy for me.
Yeah, I would probably lean that one, or it's going to be the Giants Raiders.
Ooh, though.
One of the two. They're both good.
That's a
They're
fun
both
game.
crap, but they're both good. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Evan, your lineup, you decide which one we have to use for the lowest total. Minnesota Falcons or Raiders Giants?
I'd be fine with including both if we just want to do both because they're tied.
But
Okay,
we can only do one, we can only do one, stack, though. I kind of was supposed to be the stack, but if we want to do 2 skinny stacks, we can always do that as well.
I see.
Well, I mean, yeah, I didn't want to stray too far away from your idea too, Donnie. Yeah, because I think for the
I would
sake
lean
of-
towards the Vikings game, since we already have exposure to the Raiders game in another lineup.
Fair enough.
That's what I was about to say too. I think let's just stick with that game.
Fair enough. So the first couple selections have to come from the primetime game or the lowest total.
No, it's supposed to be just the lowest. The stack is going to be the lowest total.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's decide on our stack from that game, and then we can snake around it with the rest of the draft and everything.
Okay, I'm gonna. I would recommend.
If we're stacking this game, I feel like it has to be Heineke.
I agree.
Yeah, agreed.
See, now Logan might agree with me on this. I really like Van Jefferson this week. He got a lot of targets with Heineke in the second half. A lot. With Drake London out now, he's their last big body receiver left out there. Unless you want to say Kyle Pitts, which is also another great guy to have.
I would think I'd rather go Pitts. He's going to be the guy.
Did you watch the Falcons game last week or no?
I missed it, but I would think that by just deduction, I would think it'd be Pitts. But did you see something different?
5 targets to Van Jefferson. 5 targets to Van Jefferson.
Was that right when Heineke came in?
Yes.
Yes.
Interesting.
And that was with London in.
I will say he dropped the game winner though.
He did drop the game winner. Well, not game winner, but game continuer, I guess.
Right.
To probably end up going on a game-winning drive.
Let Gov decide then if we want Pitts or because I'm okay with both, but I definitely
I like both this week.
Just do both.
Oh,
do both. I like
Just do both. Double.
I literally have that in one of mine. I have that build.
Well, the thing about Gov too, if we're gonna do it, like we already got the quarterback, we're gonna say put up points, like then we can do almost anything else. Because we're talking about some cheap options here that are supposed to get targets.
Yep.
Now, the question I have for you guys would be, do you want the bring back?
Not for Minnesota. I don't trust
Not
that
in a
passing
low-scoring game, probably either. I agree.
Not from that.
And
if we did,
even
it
I was literally going to say, if we did anyone, it would have to be Jordan Addison. He's the only one who gets the volume. Madison's still out.
I do
still
not.
Snaps Akers.
I do
I
not.
can't do Akers.
It'd be a double tight end week for me. It would be Hawkinson.
I don't trust the passing.
And the running game's still a 50-50 split, just like Moss and
right.
Taylor. So, like, I wouldn't trust Akers or Madison. So,
yep.
I say we don't do the bring back. I think we just start with this.
Bear with me, man.
I know last week we played the defense. I don't think it's insane to, but I just think that that's a high-priced defense. It kind of defeats the purpose of this cheap stack.
Yeah.
Bear with me, guys, because my mouse does not like this stack, so it's dragging across the screen. But I'm trying to make it work. Where else are we going to go though with this lineup? But here's what I like about it. It gives us targets and volume at cheap prices, so we can load up on everything else we like. We don't need any more value. Yep. We can just play like pretty much anything we want.
Yeah.
I'm just going to plug in.
I know who I want to
play to give us an idea.
Yeah, I know who I want to play.
Who's that?
I don't know if it's my pick. I would go Tyreek Hill revenge game. That's where I would leave.
Whose pick is it, by the way?
Wait, do we have that game on? Do we have that game too?
We have full slate.
No, we don't have that game.
What? Then what's the point of a full slate? That's stupid.
It's not the full slate. It's just the Sunday night and Monday night game.
Right. I think I could have done slate, but I would have had to sacrifice $1,000 of total prize. This was obviously the best one we had.
All right. Never mind them.
So whose pick is it, buddy?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of Evan and Donnie's pillar, so you guys decide. Like, we basically did Donnie's pillar. We got our cheap stack in. Yeah. So now, Evan, how do you want to finish out this lineup?
Okay, so yeah, that's a good question too. So we were gonna start with the lowest over under, and now we're gonna try and pick from the two primetime games, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
that's up to you. If that's what you want, we can do that.
Yep. All right. Yeah. So we're looking at what was the Sunday night game again?
Cincy.
So we're at Buffalo at Cincy.
Buffalo, Cincy, right? And then Chargers, Jets.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Do you want a snake draft, or how do you want to do it?
Well, we can snake it, and we could keep the same reverse order that we had going.
Okay, so
I had the last pick.
Yeah.
Is it me?
So, yeah.
Good. I'm gonna get my favorite play in for the week. Quentin Johnson. Now Palmer's out. He's another cheap guy. So I'll let you guys put him what you want. I always spell his name wrong.
Johnston.
Don't mind me. Johnson. Hey, he can score me 3 touchdowns if we can change his name. Like, he'll have enough money to do that. That super fan, by the way, from the Chargers will be super happy. But I like this play. I would have liked this play with Palmer, and his target started to go up. But now Palmer has been officially ruled out. So I think this is a better play. He saw 6 targets with Palmer. Who knows? Maybe it's 12 without him.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. That makes sense. With no
Keenan
Palmer.
might have 25 targets.
He could.
He could. Keenan could have that. What was it? Brandon Marshall is Brandon Marshall the one with
had
the
18 catch game?
Yeah.
We can change it. He did say if we didn't make any change, it had to be a PMR change after we were done building.
That's what I said. That was the other lineup.
Yeah, that was the other lineup.
Oh, maybe I'm just hoping we can get Taylor Heineke out of there. But go ahead. Go ahead to the next pick.
Well, it would be. Is it mine or is it Ghost?
No, yeah, it's yours because it would have went Logan, you, me, Evan for the
All right.
reverse
Yeah.
pick. Yeah.
I am just going to go ahead and I feel like we need to take advantage of the salary that we have and also take advantage of the fact that we're using these primetime games as well. I don't care which one. I kind of want to see what our debate would lead us to, but I would go Jamar or Diggs, but I'm fine with hearing either side.
Why don't we
Your
go with
pick.
Chase? We got the money.
But yeah, Chase and Diggs are like, what's the difference in their prices?
$700.
I have no idea, but we can probably afford both.
It's It's 700. Diggs is 9K and Chase is 83.
Are we opposed to both?
Both?
I'm not opposed to
Both?
both. Do we
Both
want to
is
jam
fine.
both in?
Both is good. Both is good. Yes. Both.
Okay,
is
let's do both. That's still 7K for 2 backs. That's ridiculous.
Wow.
Both.
This lineup's
Both is good,
crazy.
yes.
Well, hold on. We still have a defense because I don't want to play that Giants defense.
No,
Yeah, it's
thank
just
you.
the minimum salary, so we can always go up from there. I do think we need to get a good running back in there, and
Eckler.
no, not with
Actually,
Johnston already in
no.
against the Jets. I don't mind just jamming in Kamara.
Yeah, Kamara makes a lot of sense here.
Yeah, me and you got the running backs right last week in that line. By the way, I took Gabe and you took Eckler. That was a very boomer bust lineup we had. Hopefully, this one has more balance.
What does that leave us with?
At least it's with 62 if we go mid-price defense.
It leads us to another stack possibility and Bijan Robinson.
No.
No.
We could
No.
stack him and get off of Van.
No.
Get off of Van.
No.
No.
Okay, so you want to have money to get up off the defense?
I do want to have money to get up off the defense.
Does anyone want to not vomit other than Donnie? Ramondre's in a good...
I actually love his spot this week.
I know, you're the one not puking in the mouth right now.
I like it.
But I don't trust it. I can't play it because I don't know what Zeke's usage will be.
Good thing I clicked the buttons. Evan, what do you think?
I guess that's where it's probably getting late, and I'm just getting out of my mind and confused because I didn't think we were gonna pick from those games. But being that it spends all of our salary, and I'm guessing Chase and Diggs are gonna be relatively chalky. But
we don't want
to. There won't be a lineup like that.
I'm not sure how to determine chalk on this kind of a slate when you put the Sunday Monday games in. Kind of throws things off when it comes to ownership. I'm assuming that it would still be mostly the same ownership, and 9K, 8K guys like Chase and Diggs would get no ownership, kind of how Devontae Adams and Kupp are getting no ownership.
If we're so high on the primetime games, that's going to set us apart.
And our stack sets us apart.
I was about to say, and we've got 4 guys from the primetime games. We've got Diggs,
right.
We've got Jamar, we've got Johnson.
I
wouldn't mind getting how much is Brees on this actually?
The same, I think. Brees, I think, was there. He was eligible.
6,300.
Oh,
that is criminally low.
It is. I wouldn't have minded getting.
They did it to him last year too, man.
If we did Brees, we'd have to get off Kamara to do. I'd be fine doing that if you want to switch that up.
I got it. What if we went to Dalton Kincaid instead of Kyle Pitts?
I don't want to do Kincaid unless we're doing a Josh Allen stack. Otherwise, I just want to bet on the volume with that low-owned stack like we've had. I wouldn't change.
I really like Kamara, though.
I am fine going from Kamara to Brees, and then we have money for a running back and a defense.
Well, first of all, can we?
And we'll also have stacks from both late games.
Here's why I think the Kamara switch could make sense, because if we think the Saints will get up on the Bears, they could easily turn to Jamal Williams in this game.
Is Williams back?
Yes.
No, I don't think they're going to turn to Williams.
They could also use Kendre. They have backs available if they wanted
I'm just saying if it's a blowout, they're not.
Kamara, or if it were a blowout, like they said, like Logan said.
Why not just go? We could always just throw Jacobs in there too.
I like the variety, unless we really want to repeat our picks.
Well, if you think they're good picks, I think we should repeat them. Hell,
If we think they're good picks, there's nothing wrong repeating them. But
we
could always go Pollard.
Or
I'm not
Swift.
Huge on Pollard, but I do like Swift.
See, Swift could see extra receiving work against a bad defense.
Yeah, he's basically the cheaper version of Kamara. Like we're being honest.
Yes.
Yeah, in that good game, I don't mind doing that. Now we have 1,400. We can play any fucking defense you want, Donnie.
All right, we got enough for the Falcons defense, baby.
Pick the bitch. Yeah. No. What? No. No. Wait. No. What? No. Huh? I'm sorry. Meme?
No, we're basically saying these points from the Falcons offense, we would not play the defense.
We did this last week, though. That was the exact lineup we built with this last week when we did that pillar.
Except it was Desmond Ritter and it was not this lineup.
No, it wasn't this lineup.
But it was the same strategy.
It was so much better and worse at the same time.
I mean, if we're going Swift, we might as well pair it with the Eagles defense, right?
I don't mind. Yeah, that would be the best. That would be the best. Or you take a shot on Danny Dimes being shit for the Giants like they have been all year. The Raiders defense with a new coach might show up.
I don't like it that much. But,
they do have Crosby. It's not like they don't have talent. They are switching coaches. Who knows?
Crosby is their only talent. That's the problem.
And when he has 6 sacks tomorrow, what do you say?
I would say that's a lucky shot.
Against the Giants?
Thank you.
Okay, true. It's not Sam Howell who runs into a defender and gives you 4 sacks a game anyway.
I actually like the Panthers defense a lot this week.
But yes, I would say, the Eagles is the correlation one.
Yep.
And
that was a weird one.
Leaving 300 on the table, baby.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
We're different enough with a Heineke stack, and we're not playing what would probably still be the chalky running backs with Kamara and, to be honest, on the main slate, Bijan's pulling ownership. So, you're getting leverage with your low-owned Heineke stack.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
I don't know. The Van Jefferson thing, he got the targets last week. At the end of the game,
just looking at this lineup here, and I'm like, oh, God, it's fucking Heineke.
Listen.
Breece Hall.
Heineke has rush
Swift. Oh, Jamar Chase. Van Jefferson. What?
Yeah.
What was that?
If you saw the game last week.
Kyle Pitts. What? Quentin Johnston? No. Okay, Quentin Johnston. I'm okay with that. Stephon Diggs. Yeah, all right. It's a roller coaster of that lineup. It's
but Gov, here's the thing. When Heineke checked in, Pitts, I saw him throw a slant route to Pitts 4 plays in a row, I think it was.
Yeah, no, Pitts is probably going to be the number 1 talent in the offensive receiving core.
And now London's not there. Right. And Van Jefferson got targets last week. I
know it's still a roller coaster of God. Okay, sorry. Not sorry. It still is.
I think this is a slate for me in terms of the stars and scrub nature of it, because it's one of those weeks where we got a lot of quarterbacks that are going to be taking over for the first time. We mentioned that in the spread picks at the beginning. A lot of rookies we don't know. A lot of veterans maybe their last chance, and there's desperation. There's coaches that are desperate, like Dable. Don't get it twisted, guys. They saw their first head coach get fired. That's a warning sign across the league. You can say we always talk about
firing is a big deal.
Yeah, when we talk about narratives, it'd be funny or birthday narratives, people believe all kinds of stuff. I'm telling you right now, a coach getting fired, all these injuries, there's a warning sign to the players. So I didn't want to keep us very much longer because we were later starting this anyways, and I felt like those lineups, the way we built them, kind of shows you our favorite game and how we would process it. But I would say is there any other like major takeaways in such a week that's been so different? Like Doug, for example, can you think of a week where we've had so many new starting quarterbacks? I don't think I have.
This is my favorite week, honestly, so far. I've loved this slate. I'm having so much fun with it.
But Doug, like to that point, like think about it. Have we ever seen this many quarterbacks that are going to be getting their first start?
7, I think, is the record. So, like, once, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like, people don't realize we're getting that many new quarterbacks. And then there's a rumor that, the Cardinals may use 2 quarterbacks. They may use 2 and some different variations. We might get a different variation of Dobbs and Hall because they think that Dobbs doesn't know the full offense, but he knows enough of it that maybe he'd be the better passing option for third downs. So, like, this slate could just see some funny stuff. A value guy that we didn't hit on that I think should be mentioned, whether you actually believe in it or not, we're going to make some stands this week. I just want to mention really quickly. Guys like Devin Singletary are basically minimum price. And I know someone's going to wrinkle their nose and maybe for, the right reasons, but at least know these pivotal points, know Dobbs, or sorry, not Dobbs, know that, that Singletary is playing, know that, Daniel Bellinger, for example, is minimum price with no other tight ends behind him. Not so much so that you play him, but so that way you know opportunities. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you want to know. That's what I would say would be my best advice this week is know what you're getting into and don't be talked off or talked into playing something that you're not comfortable in. Because this week is meant to be uncomfortable. So find a way to be comfortable in the uncomfortable. But don't think you have to force your way into it. Does that make sense?
Get comfortable with being uncomfortable and play the best that you can find.
Well, exactly, but do it in your way, Evan. Like, I think Aiden O'Connell is the best quarterback on this slate, but I guarantee you that somebody would wrinkle their nose at me right away and probably have good reason to do it.
My nose at it, but I would never play it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And like, if you would never play it, Donnie, I don't want to be the podcast or the network to be, to be on here touting something that you're not comfortable playing. That's the whole point of this podcast, is more to tell you guys, hey, this is how we built this. This is what we did. We're not saying copy this lineup. I mean, I know if we got big enough, somebody would copy this lineup just for the hilarity of it. But that's not the whole point of this lineup. Any other points, takeaways that you guys want to get to before we wrap up?
I will say that it's been nice to at least have a team of sorts like what we have going here to build lineups, because going off of what the point you were bringing up, Logan, is that, yeah, you want to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, like I just said and what you just said, but sometimes you have to have your own thinking challenged, because otherwise, if you restrict yourself too much to what you think makes sense, you could miss out on a solid play that you just were like poo-pooing somebody. So if Aiden O'Connell goes off for 3 touchdowns and like 20 fantasy points, that will be a win because, well, playing the Giants defense, that's a high likelihood, even if you don't believe in the Raiders.
Well, a year or so ago, I won on a Stidham lineup. Last week, I won on a Will Levis lineup. And like, if I just looked at those high victory moments, you'd be like, wow, Logan, he's touting all these cheap quarterbacks, But I've also lost on plenty of Brian Hoyer lineups, And so, like, it doesn't always work. And I won't be that kind of guy that only touts the stuff that works or tells you that, hey, this is what that's why we build this at the last minute. And then we come back with you guys on Tuesday, to show you what the lineup looks like.
Did you build any Jaren Hall lineups?
Yes, I did.
Ah, good man.
You built 150 by hand this week.
I did.
You definitely had to build some, Hall.
I was going to say that for the review show, but we can get into that because that's always been a bucket list item of mine.
Well, yeah, let's get some portfolio questions on you. Like, okay. Do you have the ability to bring up your exposures?
I do. If you could, I wasn't planning it, but if you could ban for just a minute, I can definitely pull it up.
Well, let's do it.
Okay, before you pull it up, like, go to the lineups thing and pull it up. But who do you think is his highest? Like, all right, who do you think is his highest owned quarterback?
I don't have the exact numbers because unfortunately FanDuel doesn't show me the exposures the way DraftKings does.
Ah.
but I can pretty much tell you because I kept a very tight pool this week. I want to have enough variance where it's like, okay, I have enough of this game or this scenario.
One stack of every quarterback, Logan. You did it wrong.
But I mean, that's obviously the exact opposite way of how not to do it. But that's what I was kind of afraid of. It's like I don't want to have so much variance that when I'm on the nuts, I can't taste the chestnuts. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able, when the chestnuts are cooking, I want to be able to enjoy my holiday victory.
Yeah.
We know there are not there are some quarterbacks that are just not playable this week. That's just how it is.
But Gov, if you could explain to me, because I'm sure Evan's probably like building 150. That's not that crazy. This has always been a bucket list item of mine, is to have 150 lineups, just like everyone else. But everyone else uses the computers, and I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to build 150, I want to be like, hey, I built 150, and 150 mistakes were made, or 150 smart decisions were made, or whatever that percentage is. I want to know that's mine. I own that. That was my moment. And literally, I almost woke up this week. I have no problem saying this as a man. I started almost crying with excitement because I'm like, you did it. Like, I would say I've been playing DFS for about 10 years, and this had kind of been an idea, I'd say 5 years after I started playing DFS. I'm like, what happens if I put I'm smarter than the computer brain to the test? Like my crazy idea. Because I've been told by friends, like, they're like, you're smart, but you're the craziest smart guy I've ever met. Like, this is the way you think is so different than people. Most people.
You're definitely a crazy one sometimes.
Yeah, you are.
Definitely. So I'm like, doesn't that fit the 150 contrarian mindset? Like, let me see if I can do this.
Logan, I'm telling you, I cannot do that. Like, literally, I don't think there's
Donnie, not
not
only will I do it, right? Because I'll be up at 9 o'clock watching the Chiefs Dolphins game. I want to do it again. It was so fun, and I got 12. I purposely waited. I have 12 lineups because I'm like, I want to digest all my content. I want to listen to my podcast, and like right before I go to bed, go the last 12. But they're pretty much done. And I want to do this again next week. It was so much fun. Like, I truly think maybe I got the itch.
You gotta wait 10 years, Logan.
No, it's not going to happen. And I guarantee you, every 150 lineup I build will build by hand. This was so much fun for me. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm totally a nerd. I'm so proud of this. So ask away. Go ahead. I got the lineups up now.
All right. So who is your highest owned quarterback?
Do you have any guesses? I pretty much know. Like, unfortunately, it's not.
I have a great guess, and I think it's kind of
okay. Donnie, go ahead.
I think it's got to be O'Connell.
Actually, for transparency purposes, did you see in that Discord, Gov? Because I did post it, so I don't want you to cheat if you did see the.
I don't remember seeing it. No.
Okay, I did release it to those guys, but you did not see it. Okay.
It's got to be O'Connell, in my opinion.
It's not. He's second. If I like calculating in my head, he's second.
Are we looking at him right now at Bryce Young?
We are, but he's third.
Oh, man.
The number one guy, and I bet this would surprise you given how cheap I usually am. I told you I'm usually real expensive.
It's Lamar, isn't it?
It's Lamar Jackson.
Oh, my God.
Because I love so much other cheap stuff that Lamar Jackson made so much sense with the cheap and more expensive options that I have.
Right. You don't need to play him with a stack either.
I did
if
play
you do, his stack is cheap outside of Andrews.
Right.
I will say the stack I like the most did not include Andrews.
How cheap is Zay Flowers, by the way? One of my favorite rookie receivers.
He's 57 on DK. I forget what he is on FanDuel.
He's in the 50s. I know that.
Man, that's
and in FanDuel you get the extra salary cap. So still being 5K and on FanDuel, he's cheap there.
It's not PMR. It's not PPR though. It's a half point. That being said, I believe it or not, Gov, I have so much Lamar Jackson. I have 0% Flowers.
Wow.
That surprises me.
I'm a Bateman guy. I've always been a Bateman guy. He called out Bateman by name this week, saying he was going to get Bateman more involved. He literally said he's going to get wide receivers more involved.
Do you have Gus Bus in there?
I do not.
See, he was talking. He was talking pretty high and mighty this week about he wants to,
he was
workload and everything.
It was.
And I like that.
The two guys he mentioned by name were Gus Bus and Bateman.
I have a wide receiver question for you, though, Logan.
Go ahead.
Why do you like Rondale Moore so much?
He was really cheap. Like he was 3K. He has a new quarterback. He's going to be right in front of the quarterback. Like he's a slot guy right in front of the quarterback.
Very low A dot, like right at the line of
And
scrimmage.
they've been practicing with each other all year. I do let's not forget that.
And I do believe Clayton Tune does like him the most. I do have a lot of Brown though. I do like that game. I like that game especially now that Watson was ruled in. So I have a lot of not a lot of Watson. I have a lot of Cooper and Njoku, a lot of Brown, a lot of.
Do you have any Watson?
No.
Interesting.
I only have 5 quarterbacks pretty much. I want to keep my quarterback pool really tight.
I would have thrown one Watson in if you like the game environment, but that's just me.
Now I think I already saw this, but your highest owned running back. Donnie, Evan, guess.
Gosh, I don't have.
I'll give you the top 3 if you can get it, because I think my top 3 are very close, probably like within a percentage or 2.
I mean, it's not PPR. It's not full point PPR, I should say. So that knocks down Kamara, I'm sure, a little bit.
No, I got 150. I could scroll, and you guys still probably wouldn't get that big of it.
Well, I know you probably have a lot of Kamara, but it's gonna knock him down a bit.
Gov, I will say though, as a guess, I did keep my player pool pretty tight, and I just rotated different variations.
Well, I'm just gonna go the simple one, Devin Singletary.
No, I have a decent amount of Singletary, but not overweight Singletary. I might be overweight actually, because I don't know how many people will play him, but I do have a decent amount.
Evan, you got a guess?
I'm gonna guess Saquon Barkley.
You would be right, Evan.
Bam!
I believe it is Saquon Barkley. If it is,
I'm pretty sure.
I was thinking Jacobs would be another one, but
if it's not Saquon, it's Jonathan Taylor.
I was gonna say Taylor's the one I saw in the Discord. I'm like, you were saying you were playing a crap ton of Taylor.
Yeah, it's either Taylor or Saquon. I think they're pretty much in almost every lineup, it feels like. I have a lot of Kamara too. But you'll see, I targeted like a lot of the same games, just in different ways. I even have a couple of Jalen Reagor teams.
he should know. He should get some work.
Not only that, Thompson's questionable, Gov. And he's like so. I think he is minimum, and it's very rare to get a minimum guy over on fantasy.
Can't make me look.
No, I think it's disgusting. I think it's a puke play, but with 150 lineups and some.
You can play a couple of those, yes.
You know how in like DK there's like maybe a handful of 3K guys? There's maybe 4 viable, like literal minimum
We'll
trades.
see the field.
I can't wait to get my 2 targets with Jalen Reagor that go for 15 yards.
Hey, I'll be happy. I'll be jumping. Because no, literally, that saved me $1,200, which doesn't sound like much, but it's the difference between playing Jonathan Taylor and like Kamara, because Kamara is like stupid price over on FanDuel. He's 9,200 over here.
And it's not PPR?
Yeah,
That's disgusting.
Yeah, half
It's
PPR.
not- But in a way, Donnie makes running backs like him more valuable because the volume becomes more important. Because it's also not bonus related, so you don't get a bonus for catching passes for 100 yards. So like you really do need volume. Any other questions, Go? I know you're interested, and you're gonna hit me with a deep like philosophical questions too.
How many defenses did you end up playing?
You told me to try. I think I still might be playing too many. I'm gonna guess I have like 9.
It's not horrible for 150. I didn't want you to have like 13 like you were thinking.
No, I think
Like 10,
I think
12
Mike's
was a little
right.
much. Like,
I think this week there's 7 defenses on DK that were like viable options.
I have a lot of Rams, a lot of Carolina, and a lot of New England. Like if I was saying,
especially with a condensed running back pool, I wouldn't have had a very big defensive pool.
that's kind of what I did. Like,
Well, do you have Ramondre a decent amount or no? Any Ramondre at all?
Ramondre shoot? No Ramondre shoot. That play just didn't appeal to me at all. It's because Tony Pollard is like 6K over here. Like They have Tony Pollard priced like he's Brees Hall over on DraftKings. I don't understand why.
I don't know why DraftKings hates Brees Hall so much, to be honest.
And by the way, I don't know if we talked about that much on DK this week, but what's his name? Bijan Robinson is really cheap over on DraftKings. Not so cheap on FanDuel. He's 7,100 over here, which is a real price. This is probably the guy that I have the most of that, like, you guys would really be like, why? But Bryce Young has been throwing to him a lot for how cheap he is.
I mean, the new offensive coordinator, the new guy calling plays was like a tight end coach. So
Exactly.
I was looking for Hurst or Tremble to maybe take an uptick in
Tremble
snap usage, whatever.
All right. I think we've hit our quota.
Yeah.
That's an hour and a half.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, this is in 150. I'm like $10 in. These were 5-cent entries. That's a good entry point. So don't do that thing where you're like, well, if I had 150 lineups, or if I had a bankroll like you guys, I could win too. Don't do that. There are price points. There are contests for everyone out there. You can play on different sites. You can play with different mindsets. There are cash games. There are 50-50 games. There are even head-to-head games, which we are going to get into more in a couple weeks. We were thinking about doing a big Thanksgiving kind of like showdown, kind of like WWE kind of spin-off cage match, some head-to-head fun, some just like different innovative ways to build. So this is just another example of how to enjoy fantasy. But however you do it responsibly, do it with fun, and wake up early this morning. We're going to try to get this podcast out here in the next 5 minutes. So then when you guys wake up at 9 a.m., you got something to watch, some content to consume. Good night, everyone. Have a good one.
Thank you, everyone.
Keep
Congrats on the lineups, Logan.
Keep the faith. Go Bears.
Peace out, everyone.